every single word you get has to go through the Mark chapter 4 test. There's no exceptions. When the sower sows the word, he describes the next thing that happens. So even if that wasn't the devil's normal plan, now it is. Because the king just told him his only authorized pathway. So when the sower is sowing word, look out for these three things: the snatch, the attack, and the choke. These are three levels every word's got to get through. So the first thing is the snatch. You hear a word, maybe on a broadcast, somebody sitting right next to you does the sucking teeth thing, or, rolls the eyes or goes, oh, I can't believe that. That word wasn't for them, but maybe it was for you. And what's happening? The enemy's trying to snatch it from everybody around them. Careful. If the word's not for you, just keep on eating what's for you. Many times when I'm receiving something, I will stop on the word that's for me. I won't hear anything for the next 20 minutes because I'm still meditating on the thing that was for me. I would encourage you all to just get what's for you. Amen. There's going to be a snatch, but even if that doesn't work, the next thing you're going to experience, Mark chapter 4, it's right there, written step by step. This is what the devil's going to do. He's going to bring somebody to make fun of you, persecute you, laugh at you, or in some way get you to drop that word willingly. You'll drop it because of embarrassment, because of ego. Embarrassment, just making you feel like you're ostracized, making you feel weird, making you feel like you're a weirdo because you're obeying the word and nobody else is. That's kind of like the people that the whole company cheats the employer, and when you're the employee doing it the right way, you look like the bad guy. You're actually not going to punch out until quitting time, and everyone's mad at you because you're setting the wrong standard to their thinking. This is the world you live in, and so understand that, saints. And lastly, the third test that you just have to understand is going to be there. It's the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches. You get a word. How many know that the first fruits were talking to Cain? Cain was like trying to bring the first fruits, and the first fruits were talking to him, talked him out of it. How many know that, that stuff will talk to you? That snake will try anything to stay alive. When you're taken into an altar to be crucified, to be put to death, put on the altar, right? That thing doesn't want to die. It's going to try and talk you out of it. And saints, this is the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things. And people fall for this one all the time. They get a good word. They got past the snatch. They get past the persecutors. They get past the people making fun of them. Like, all right, you're making fun of me. That's all right. But then the cares of this world, cares of this world choke that word, and it becometh unfruitful. It's not as easy. I'm not making fun of anybody because it's not easy to pass these tests. Especially the bigger the word is, the more aggressive these three tests will come. The more aggressive this is going to be. And so if it's a big word, if he's bringing you a big word of breakthrough, a big word of healing, this is a big one, a big word of healing. Some of you are waiting on a big word of healing. You get your word of healing, what's the enemy do? Come snatch it. First, literally like 5 seconds later, come to catch it. Come to snatch that thing. You have to be very careful to guard off all of those things. And so, saints, I'm just sharing that with you, a little rabbit trail, but I really believe that the adversary is working overtime right now to keep you from believing Yahuwah Elohim's word, because the ones who believe his word will endure to the end and overcome. The enemy knows that. Every single one that gets past him is an indictment against him. Every one of you get past him, become his indictment. So your witness, your testimony on behalf of Yahusha, on behalf of Yahuwah Elohim, declaring him righteous, declaring all of his good works, declaring what he did for you, that testimony is against the other side. So he doesn't want any of you to have a testimony. He wants you to all fail. He wants every test to be a failure, so you just give up. And that way you are not testifying against him in the day of his judgment. Yeah, what else would he need testimonies and witnesses for if there wasn't a trial? Yahuwah Elohim was accused of unrighteousness. We are his witnesses of his righteousness, of his goodness, of his mercy, of his love. We are witnesses. We're ready to testify. Put me on the stand. I'm ready to give you my testimony. I will tell you the truth of the things he has done for me. I will share with you from one end of earth to the other the greatness of Yahuwah Elohim, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so his ways are not movable. They're not something you can go around and rearrange anytime you feel like. And understand that this is important for us to get, because many times people try to play games with the concept of righteousness as if it's just a theory or an idea. Like it's just declared onto somebody. So you're just declared righteous. Like a liar being declared a truth teller even though he's still lying while his lips are moving. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But that's exactly the kind of nonsense that gets preached out there. is that you can stay a liar and be declared righteous. You can stay a fornicator and declared righteous. You can stay an adulterer and declared righteous. And forget the word that says seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. Just forget that, because you're just going to get declared righteous. See how nonsensy that is? That's crazy. But that's the kind of doctrine that gets preached out there, where they twist things to make it so that they don't have to make you do anything other than just come to their meeting and feel pretty good. Understand there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. And that's what righteousness is meant. And so when he says that he established that righteousness like the great mountains, he put that picture in there so that every time you see mountains, and they're all over the earth, no matter where you are, there's mountains probably within 50 or 100 miles of you somewhere. Even if it's just a hill, okay? Get the hint. He's saying, you can't move that. Don't try to move my ways. Learn to walk in my ways. Don't try to change them. Just learn to walk them. In Isaiah chapter 2, here's a beautiful word that we're going to see actually more than once. This prophetic utterance that comes by the Ruach HaKodesh. This is very powerful. So for me, this is a description and a word for this last season, for the last days. You cannot go around. Let's take a look at Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahuwah's house. Now I'm just going to sit here for just a second. The mountain of Yahuwah's house. His house is a mountain. Just going to keep that on there for a moment. Shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. And for out of Zion shall go forth the Torah and the word of Yahuwah from Yerushalayim. Right? So he tells them straight up that this is the future. This is the last day's word. This is what is coming. When it's all over, when everything is done, when we are tired of listening to the devil, when we are tired of listening to Antichrist spirits, when we're all done with this mess, he says in the last days, the mountain of Yahuwah's house shall be established above all the mountains. So he's saying, plain and simple, the kingdom of Yahuwah Elohim will be demonstrated to be superior to every other kingdom on earth. Every other government, every other form of government, every other form of authority, every hill, every mountain, everything here will bow before the mountain of Yahuwah's house. Because the time has come. Judgment is falling, and it is not something that any one of us have control over. It is naturally falling like rain, and you need his redemption to keep from getting wet. It's the umbrella you need. If you don't have that, you're going to get soaked in wrath. In Isaiah chapter 41, he speaks to the redeemed. He's speaking to you and me, the remnant, those who are set apart, who will be seeing things through the centuries, through various times of judgment. So he put this word there for us, for no matter what time we read this, whether we read it 1,000 years ago and there was trouble coming, or right at the very edge of time itself, made no difference, because he intended to keep this promise no matter when you call it. And just, I want you to understand that, because he makes it clear. He doesn't care when you call. It doesn't matter if you're even 1,000 years early. You thought it was going to end today, but it's still 1,000 years. He doesn't mind. He's still going to answer this word. Look what he says. He says in Isaiah 41 and verse 14, fear not. So that takes care of what you should be doing. Fear not, thou worm, Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith Yahuwah, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the one set apart. And that is why it is so important that we be holy, because he is holy. And he says, behold. So you see it with your eyes. That's what behold means. I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument. Something they ain't never seen before. Brand new thing. It's going to do a new thing. Come on, saints. I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. Woo! Hallelujah. Thou shalt thresh the mountains. So now you're seeing what's happening. He's going to put some teeth in the prophetic words he's going to give his servants. He's going to send you out to declare against these governments, against these leaders, against these mayors and governors and presidents and kings and all these in authority in various levels. And he's calling his servants to thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. Thou shalt fan them, and the wind shall carry them away. and the whirlwind shall scatter them. Now that you know what he's talking about, how afraid are you of the New World Order? Look at this. And the whirlwind shall scatter them, and thou shalt rejoice in Yahuwah, and shalt glory in the Holy One of Israel. Why? Because he deserves the glory. He destroyed your enemies. This is over with already, saints. This is all just it's like watching a movie that we already know the end of. We don't know every twist and turn of the plot, but we know how it finishes, so it's a yawner. Amen. It's a yawner. The devil thinks he's so exciting. He thinks sin is exciting. We are all bored with his sin. Been bored with it a long time. Haven't seen anything new. Keeps recycling the same old morbid, psychopathic behavior, like we're suddenly going to jump on this train. It just gets less interesting every cycle around the sun. How many of you are already in heaven? You're just putting in your time on earth. You're just waiting for the king to come. You had about enough of this devil's circus. Amen. And see, he thinks he's so clever. He thinks he'll keep enticing you. Come on, like it's like these politicians offering you free stuff and not telling you how they're going to pay for it. It's the same thing. That's the same kind of crazy. No, it's going to be great. How are we going to do that? I don't know yet, but it's going to be great. This tree, what's it do? Don't worry about it. Just eat it. He's trying to keep you from bad. Just go ahead and eat it. Don't pray for you. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. And saints, we keep doing it. We keep, as human beings, as the human race, we bought these lies. We went over the ditch. We thought it was a restriction and it was a guardrail keeping us alive. Now in Micah chapter 4, here again, Micah is repeating the same prophetic utterance. Let's take a look at this. This is powerful. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahuwah shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow into it, and many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth from Zion, and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke what? Strong nations afar off. Smack them around. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. You know that the United Nations took a part of that verse and used it as if they were the ones that were going to bring that to pass? Yes. This is the arrogance of the unholy. They are so arrogant, they actually believe they can usurp his word and bring it to pass. No, he's the only one that can bring this passage to pass. And so he says he's going to judge the nations among many people and rebuke the strong nations. So he's going to rebuke those that came up with these grandiose spiritual ideas who thought it's just our tradition. He's going to rebuke that. He rebuked Jews' traditions. He's definitely going to be rebuking pagan ones. So understand that any of these strong nations that come with all of their stuff, he's rebuking that. He's going to make sure all nations understand that his ways and only his ways are what goes forward on his earth. So this again is foretelling of what's to come. So the direction we're going is cleaning this up, not making it worse. So everybody who's trying to bring in the previous season status quo, they're fighting a losing battle. They're pushing an escalator the wrong way. It's not going that way, never will. They're wasting their time. They're running up and down escalators, and they're never going to get to the top. They're never going to make it go back. We're never going back to that dark again, saints. That day is over. All we got left is the wrath of the devil, who's not getting the message, who's hard-headed and hard of hearing, and he's going to go out with a lot of wrath. So you're going to see him make a big old mess as he gets judged. As his judgment, as he says, as the king says, judgment starts falling on him all over the nations. He's running out of places to hide. That's what you're watching, and you're going to watch it unfold. And you may say, but what about all these diseases? What about all this pestilence? You were warned about that. These were signs of his coming. Why are these things happening? Because the king warned us that before his arrival, this is what we should be looking for. So should we be surprised by pestilence? No. We should have been prepared for that. And so this is why the mountain is so important, because the mountain is your authority. Your authority is above their authority. Your power is above their power. This is why when you pray, you go past the kingdoms of earth. You go past their courts. You go past their government. You go past their authority. And you go to the supreme of supreme courts. And you make your petition there. And then it changes the world. Amen and amen. The true power of prayer. And this is where his mountain is. It's above all the others. And so saints, understand that he is putting this in your mind, the remnant, so that you are unafraid, because there's going to be a lot of scaredy cats out there. Your job is going to be to calm them down. He's still on the throne, and we pray with you and minister to you. What happens? We take them out of the mountain of the kingdom of the devil and bring them to the mountain of Akrite. We're bringing them to his holy mountain. What happens there? They start to learn about him, his kingdom, his righteousness, his authority, how his authority is superior to their authority, how his ways are higher than their ways, how if you learn his things, you're always going to have dominion over their things. And so what's starting to happen? People starting to figure out he was telling the truth. Because guess what? He's already in front of science. He's already in front of all these things. He has the cure for all these things.